As the U.S. continues to target alleged drug boats from Venezuela, talk of regime change in the oil-rich country is ramping up, a shift that could have an impact on Canada's energy sector. Our Aaron Collins now on why regime change in Venezuela could bolster the case for another pipeline to the Pacific.
Off the coast of Venezuela, a show of force on the high seas. The U.S. seizing a Venezuelan oil tanker.
Large tanker, very large. Largest one ever seized, actually.
That after the U.S. destroyed more than 20 boats it alleges were being used by Venezuelan drug runners.
Right now, the world is seeing the strength of American resolve in stemming the flow of lethal drugs to our country.
And as the U.S. military presence in the area grows, talk of regime change is building too. But as pressure mounts on Venezuela's president, some question U.S. motivations.
Of course, oil and the prices of oil is something that moves Trump administration towards Venezuela.
Venezuela has the largest oil reserves on the planet, but years of mismanagement and underinvestment have seen exports crater, dropping from a high of more than 3 million barrels a day to about a quarter of that.
The country has massive reserves, the largest in the world, but they are unable to exploit them. And that is obviously a major vulnerability, but it's also one of the reasons why the United States is interested in Venezuela.
Venezuela's oil is similar to that produced in Canada's oil sands. A resurgence in oil exports from Venezuela, a potential challenge for Alberta's oil patch.
It would be a direct competitor for Canadian barrels into the U.S. Gulf Coast market.
But even with regime change, rebuilding Venezuela's energy sector would take time.
Political change can happen very quickly. Industrial change takes a long time.
Still, if more Venezuelan oil eventually did enter the market, Canadian barrels shipping to the Gulf Coast could fetch a lower price. Another reason some say diversifying markets for Canadian oil makes sense. A deal between Ottawa and Alberta laying out terms for a new pipeline to the Pacific intended to do just that. The case for that line bolstered by a potential change in Venezuela, according to some analysts.
And the only real security we can have in any future eventuality is optionality. And I think the main thing that the West Coast Pipeline buys us is additional, essentially a doubling of that non-U.S. route export optionality.
As unclear as the future is for Venezuela's oil industry, the possibility of a new pipeline to Canada's west coast is equally murky. A project that still has no private proponent and no route, but plenty of opposition from neighboring BC and coastal First Nations. Aaron Collins, CBC News.